Hello everyone, my name is Bala Bamon and I'm a media studies student at Nova High School. And today I'm going to take it upon myself to answer the first creative critical reflection question. That is, how does your product use or challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups or issues? Well, our film opener disproved the traditional convention constantly presented in the media that men are superior to women, along with challenging the media's representation of women embodying the submissive, inferior role that complies to the commands of the dominant male lead. In our opener, not only is the group of women embodying the typical role of a man, but it's all different kinds of minorities that are also being represented as inferior by the media. For instance, according to the Bombers Concepts case study, through the media's representation of men, they are looked up upon as the providing, strong, dominant leader. Men are quick to jump into action and reject any expression of vulnerable emotions to avoid being called weak or womanly. Opposingly, women are viewed down as inferior, oftentimes even weak compared to men. However, women take pride in expressing these vulnerable emotions, resulting in the internal strength that men severely lack. Moreover, our female black lead re-represents women in an empowering light. The fact that a woman is taking initiative in an unfamiliar situation, expressing her dominant character traits, strengthens the representation of women that is looked down upon. This improved re-representation of women as a whole raises awareness to the importance of how certain societal groups are being represented. In this case, it's how the media's representation of women can have an alarming impact on the way women view themselves and others, which can be seen in the Disney Princess case study. According to the Disney Princess case study, this belittling, degrading representation of women leads to the harmful impact affecting the way little girls view themselves. It's resulted in girls viewing themselves as inferior and destined to play out the weak role compared to the male role. At their young age, little girls are constantly being fed Disney stories that consist of a helpless princess whose mere role is to sit there and be pretty, whilst waiting to be saved by a blue prince. Women are never represented as independent or strong. Instead, they are taught to wait for a man to do all the heavy lifting, causing little girls to develop a mindset dependent on a man whilst exhibiting a submissive role, simply because the media places men on a pedestal. This can be supported using the copycat theory that explains how the audience copies the media by acting out things they see on TV. Considering how little girls are at their most vulnerable stage of development and essentially learning how the world works, being taught this degrading representation engraves a devaluing mindset at such a young age. As they're being shown all these movies and stories, the media normalizes these behaviors and mindset, which only exacerbates the issue. On a larger scale, this also impacts society's views on women as a whole, which can be supported using the hypodermic needle theory. The hypodermic theory explains how the messages presented in the media are powerful enough to shape public opinions and behavior. So, not only is this devaluing representation of women detrimental upon the self-worth and identity of little girls, but it reinforces the same toxic message throughout all of society, and possibly history. At its core, our film opener addresses the pervasive societal issue by representing women and minorities in an empowering light. For instance, when Christy fearlessly jumps into action and opens the door in a scary situation, due to the door creepily opening by itself, she shows no sign of inferiority and instead embraces her strength, which is something not presented by the media. Besides, what is the role of a man? Or when Christy calls Mariana and a creepy, manly voice answers. She isn't scared and she doesn't feel helpless. However, she does feel confused as to why a random person has Mariana's phone. If Christina was represented in the way the media typically represents women, she would have instead not had the courage to enter Mariana's house, let alone respond in a calm, collected way, due to the media constantly showing women to be excessively emotional and overreacting, overall causing the correlation between emotional and weak simply because women embrace their emotions. Fundamentally, the re-representation of women as a whole challenges the male-dominant conventions largely presented by the media. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast and have a great day.